Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Is extreme government corruption making America bankrupt? Now, a lot of people are complaining about all the jobs lost, millions of jobs lost in the government as a direct result of all the spending cuts that President Trump and Elon Musk are doing. But the truth is, we've actually seen and survived much worse. Now, again, is America going bankrupt from excessive government spending and excessive government fraud? On your screen, you'll see a tweet from Elon Musk where Musk says, exactly, America is going bankrupt from extreme levels of government spending. Either radical action is taken or we are toast. Now, what's he responding to? He's actually responding to this tweet on your screen that says, Doge is existential. In other words, we need it just to be able to survive. That's what people don't understand. We're financing much of this, meaning all of our spending, with debt. And it's only accelerating. It's getting worse. I'm doing this because the numbers are undeniable and I want to secure my children's future. Now, there are 2.4 million federal employees and we've actually survived much worse layoffs. You'll see this chart on your screen, which actually tells you that 6.2 million people were unable to work because employers either lost their businesses or closed their businesses as a direct result of the pandemic. So again, people unable to work because the employer closed or lost business due to COVID. And this was from May 2020 to June 2021. You can see that basically we're talking about 6.2 million people who either lost their job, didn't work at all, or whose hours had been cut down significantly because the employer closed or lost business due to the COVID pandemic. Now, this is down from 7.9 million people in May 2021 and from 49.8 million people in May 2020. Now, speaking of extreme levels of government spending and government inefficiency, here's some words from President Trump himself about the extreme fraud in Social Security. People who can't possibly be alive getting Social Security benefits. Now think about this. If there's Social Security fraud, it's ultimately funded by you, the taxpayer, because a portion of your paycheck is set aside for the Social Security pool, a portion of my paycheck as well. And if these funds go to someone who is not an actual recipient, it's you and me getting cheated. In addition to that, we have a lot of child tax credits going to illegal immigrants, which go from the IRS. So there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of waste. Let's hear from President Trump in his own words, talking about extreme levels of fraud when it comes to Social Security and individuals who simply can't be alive by virtue of their age, actually being on the recipient list for Social Security. Let's roll the tape and hear what President Trump has to say.
From 120 years old, people that are 120 years old up to 129, 3,472,000 people. Wow. You know that can't possibly be because the record is like, I think it's one person, a woman, lived to 127, but they have 3,472. Okay, but now we're going really in. People from 130 years old to 139 year old, 3,936,000. Wow. I wonder if people are getting paid with all this. I mean, are these checks? And that's what we're checking right now. People from 140 years old to 149 years old, 3,542,000, 140 years old and beyond. Now we're really going because we're looking to break the record by 25 years. People from 150 years old to 159 years old, 1,345,000. These are by the way, these are in the computer files. This is what they do well.
That was President Trump. Now let's hear from Tim Burchett. That was President Trump. Now let's hear from Tim Burchett, who's a Republican congressman from the great state of Tennessee. And he said this: you're going to see a paper trail coming back to Washington, D.C. That's why a lot of people are nervous. Going to see a lot of retirements. They are stealing from the American people and got caught. Now, I do want our viewers and subscribers to know that a lot of homes have gone up for sale in Washington, D.C. The online search for criminal defense attorneys has gone up in D.C. So there's a lot of panic in Washington, D.C. and a lot of people are actually moving out hiring criminal defense attorneys. Let's hear what this Republican congressman from the great state of Tennessee has to say about this entire situation as Doge, as Elon Musk uncover all of this fraud. Let's roll the tape and take a look.
Happened? How did we end up where we are?
Well, that's an excellent question. And when you see people here in Tennessee paying 50% of their income to state, federal, and local taxes through through everything else, fees and everything else, and then they see us sending literally billions overseas to our enemies. I've uncovered $40 million going to the Taliban. A guy named Sean Ryan over in Middle Tennessee, former Navy SEAL, podcaster, he and another guy named Legend had brought this to my attention. And, last term, I could not even get the Democrats to bring it up in the Senate. It passed unanimous in the House, not even a question, because they're going to have to admit they made a mistake. And they've continuously made a mistake, and they did it on purpose, is the worst part about it. And this graph that you're seeing, and that's 100% what it is.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a paper trail come back to Washington, D.C., and that's why I think a lot of people are nervous, and you'll see a lot of retirements because they are stealing from the American taxpayer, and now they've got their hand caught in the cookie jar, and all they can do is attack Elon Musk.
So that's it, everyone. That was President Trump, that was Elon Musk, and that was a Republican congressman from the great state of Tennessee, Tim Burchett, sharing their experience with the extensive fraud in our government, the extensive fraud and the extensive corruption. In fact, I believe if this is not tackled, we as a country could potentially go bankrupt. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. This is the Ignition Time channel. Please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications. I cover important matters related to the country, related to the economy and your money. I'm always going to present you with the truth, stuff you're not going to see on mainstream media. The mainstream media is not going to report about the extensive social security fraud. They're not going to talk about the nervousness in Washington, D.C. and the frantic events taking place in Washington, D.C. where people are trying to cover their tracks and cover their behind. They are not going to talk about the risk of us as a country going bankrupt, because that is what's actually happening. And in many cases, a lot of the fraud and the corruption from the lawmakers actually can be traced back. A lot of the money can be traced back to these news media organizations, because they in turn all spread the same false narrative for the most part. But you're not going to get that on the Ignition Time channel. So please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I'm your citizen journalist. I'm at your service. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.